Hey there, Seth here again with One Board Dad for some more EMC creation in Sky Adventures, Minecraft, etc. So it has been very short period of time since I went out from the last episode, and you can see, this is actually looking better than I think in my initial testing. These bags are keeping up. This is having positive storage. So as long as I just stay away from here, I think this is actually going to wind up with a surplus of loot bags. Like you can see, it's not a big surplus, but it is keeping it going, and I've got 4 million more EMC. So it's still, even just with this super simple setup, it is still pretty overpowered in my opinion. It's not, like I said, my preference, and today we're going to do the thing I like better. We're going to play Pokemon, basically. Not really. We're going to do chickens, so it still has that kind of feel to me of, gotta collect them all. Oh, there was a chicken I was looking into. Collect them all and everything, but I don't know, it's just more interesting to me. Same thing that I get the appeal of like agricraft, where it's you take those seeds and I have to level them to 10, 10, 10. So chickens give us the ability to, the base mod is probably chicken, what is it called? Chickens, right? Chickens and more chickens and all that kind of stuff. There's a couple different mods that are going to involve with chickens, but the base idea is you get different types of chickens that can create items. So the aluminum chicken makes aluminum ingots. The blizzrod chicken makes blizzrods. The light blue chicken egg makes light blue dye. Simple as that. So it gives you resource generation through chickening, basically. The base items, like the colored chickens, you can actually just make. So it's just putting a dye in with an egg and you will get the chicken out. And then everything else pretty much has to be bred from things. So what's a simple one? Like none of these are, let's say a gunpowder chicken. A gunpowder chicken comes from sand and from flint. This totally defeats what I was saying before. There are then also some chickens that you can't breed and you can't craft. You have to just find them in the world. So as this mentioned, sand chickens and flint chickens will just spawn somewhere around the map. So we might even have some kicking around. There's a rooster over there. I don't actually know if roosters do something special. I don't see any right now that look like funny looking chickens, but wait, is that one? That one? You look a little bit funny. Are you just a chicken? You're just a chicken. So I don't know, you may get to the point where you like have to generate some chickens so that they could randomly spawn into weird chickens. I don't know if that helps, but there's a couple of them that you have to do that way. But at the same time, just keep in mind, if you use the Questy book and go to the reward store, you can buy a log chicken, a sand chicken, and a flint chicken. So those are the ones that spawn, that you can only get through spawning on the, the standard, whatever it is, zone, realm, the non-nether. And then you can have a soul sand chicken and a nether quartz chicken. The only way to get to those is to capture them in the nether or to use the quest book to buy them. So I still have not gone to the nether. That's kind of my intent, but I can potentially buy a nether quartz chicken and get nether quartz through that. I can buy a soul sand chicken and get soul sand through that. I can actually get soul sand a different way anyway, and probably nether quartz too for that matter. But we can also get the chickens just through using the dollars. So that's the gist of how it works. So I've actually been doing chickens. So we're going to get a pretty big jump start because that's where I was working on things when I realized my episodes previously recorded were just totally all over the place and not cohesive. So we're going to be doing some chickens, and I've done like the tiniest little bit of progression here in the actual quests. I'm not too worried about the quests, other than the fact that, like I said, eventually I'm going to need some dollars to open up the whatever it is, the repeatable quests. But I'm not too worried about it. This chicken mod doesn't take you very far through it. It gives you some basic things you could craft, and then basically says you to make the colored chicken eggs. It eventually gets to where you can have solid experience. So I might eventually go that route, but doesn't apply today to EMC. Not talking XP, we're talking EMC generation. And so what, oh, hello, little puffer, our little Enderman. Really, then there's 3 mods that kind of impact chickens. So there's chickens itself, and that gives you the hen house. That's really the only block it gives, other than it also gives this guy, the chicken analyzer. So if I was to chicken analyze, grab this, basically it looks like a big egg timer. I could find a chicken. I don't know if it'll work on the rooster or not. Let's find out. Nope, you are not a chicken. There was a chicken over here, so this should work. I think it may only work if they are part of the mods, to be honest. So, nope, it's not working there. So I have to get a modded chicken. So let's do that real fast just to see. So let's just pretend world, you didn't have chickens already made. And I've got a bunch of chickens that I've already crafted. To make some of the chickens, we are going to do, let's say we would want, let's just think about what we'd want to make with chickens. And it's a good mental exercise. Say you want to make iron with chickens. Iron chicken. Well, there you're looking at, well, bone white and flint. Bone white, fortunately, I can make. So if you need a bone white chicken you haven't found anywhere, you can get bone and egg meal, or egg meal, bone meal and an egg. So bone meal. Actually, do I even have these already made? I don't. So give me some egg. Give me some bone meal. That's the other thing, these base eggs that can be crafted, you can actually craft them with EMC as well. So once you make one, make sure to learn it so you can use it and not have to do it the other way. But basically, if we take these and just start chucking them, eventually we'll get one craft, or that will spawn, and then I can click it, and you can see it is a 111 bone white chicken. So like agricrafts and other things, it has the ability to increase its stats in growth, gain, and strength. And it does that just by existing in some sort of a pen process or breeding with some other chickens. But yeah, so that's the idea of what the analyzer does. It tells you how good is your chicken. So the other thing, if we then look at chickens, is you have the hen house, and it gives you what it does in the description. It will automatically collect items from chickens in a 9x9x9 radius when provided with a hay bale. So this is really just picking up items that the chickens drop. So like all the manure and feathers and eggs that I'm picking up as I go. Or in the case of this guy right here, the bone white chicken, it would be bone meal that he drops, and maybe bones too. You also see on there he needs to grow. So he has whatever that is, 1200 seconds. So is that 20 minutes? It takes him 20 minutes to grow, and he should produce until then. And then once he's grown, and I don't have a way, I actually do have a way to grow him. Let's just pretend that it's a secret for now, but don't look at how I'm making him grow. We'll get to what that is in a bit. So now he's grown, voila. It mentions he will, and he needs to be analyzed again. He's a 1-1, but then says he has a timer for how quickly he'll make an egg. So he's going to make an egg in 9 minutes, and that's going to be, you know, maybe some feathers, maybe some manure, maybe some bone meal, etc. The roost then is just going to pick that up. That's all it's doing, is it's just picking up things in a 9x9 radius. Not sufficient for what I need. The other mod that is pretty useful is hatchery then. So this gives you a little bit more machinery behind your chickens. They have all these upgrades and efficiencies and things. I don't even know what these go to. The only real machines in here are like the methane digester generator or whatever, where basically you can create, I think, RF or whatever your power source is through using manure. It's like a manure conversion. And then you have a mixer to create liquid fertilizer, a nursery monitor that's going to basically move adult chickens and baby chickens to different places. So kind of a sorter. You got a feeder to help grow the chickens more quickly from their baby state to their adult state. But you can see I've got another trick for that. So I don't really, in my experience, I haven't had any real need or luck or use for any of the hatcheries, to be perfectly honest, with the exception of these two. You have an egg nest, and this, you place an egg into the nest and it will auto hatch your chicken over a random time. Placing a redstone lamp up to 3 blocks above the nest will increase the speed. Sitting on the egg will also increase the speed of hatching. So this helps hatch the egg. Like you saw, I was just throwing white eggs around because I can make a ton of them, and eventually they will just accidentally create a chicken. But if you want to guarantee a chicken with your egg, which is important when you get into the more limited availability eggs, you can use an egg nest to make that happen. And then a nesting pen will let you put a chicken into it and then basically use this thing called an animal net to place chickens into the nesting pen. Placing 2 nesting pens will auto breed the 2 chickens. This basically, if we look at the use, you put a chicken in there and it creates the items and holds it within the nesting pen. So you can get the redstone alloy, the manure, the feather, hatchery egg inside the nesting pen, and you don't have the auto collecting component. It also does this much faster, seemingly, than it does with them just in the world. So this is my initial go-to, right? So let's even use that as an option. I don't know where'd my fancy chicken go? Fancy chicken. Where did it go? Oh, there he is. So I have, let's just grab some stuff to play with. We can grab some nesting pens, a nest. We can grab animal nets. We can grab, let's just grab redstone lamps. Have I ever taught this thing to make a lever? Beautiful. A little bit of stone. Just to have something to play with. I think that's basically all we're going to need. So you come here. I'm going to use the animal net to capture you. So this lets me carry the chicken around in the net, which is kind of helpful. And so basically, if we use a nesting pen, we can then put the bone chicken in there. If we were to look at bone chicken, and let's go with like this, use, and we see breeding. This tells you the things you can breed a bone white chicken with to get different things. So an iron chicken and a bone white gives you a silver chicken. Cactus green will get you a nickel chicken. A bone white and a blaze rod will get you a gassed chicken, which is pretty cool actually. Bone white and a clay will get you tin, etc. Right? Gray and bone gives you light gray, light blue, pink, iron. This is probably the big one, right? You get flint. So you have to get that flint chicken either spawning in the world or buy it from the quest. And then you put them next to each other and they'll breed. So as you can see here now, his next drop is in 3.5 minutes roughly. And then this will just fill the inventory with whatever he creates. So that is pretty handy. That's pretty good, right? Definitely better in my mind than the hatchery. So you basically can string a bunch of nesting pens together and get things going. Once you get an egg, let's just take, I think this, I don't know if that one will work or not. It might have to be a hatchery egg. But if we put then a hatching nest down, this is where we can put eggs, like I said, and basically they will eventually turn into a chicken, guaranteed. So instead of having 10 eggs, which none of them, I guess I threw 4, but we'll throw those over there. None of them turned into a chicken, then you can put them in here and you'll get a guarantee. So if we just real quick go like 1, 2, 3, they need to be within 3 blocks of the nest. And if you put a redstone lamp above them, it basically acts as a heat source. So it makes them all warm and toasty and want to come out and play. So you can do that to make them grow faster, whatever eggs you put in there, or hatch faster. And you can also stand on top of them like a good little mother hen, right? Choop, mother hen on an egg. And that'll make them spawn faster as well. Let me see if I have an egg. Eventually this guy will give an egg. The other thing to know is even just standalone, when the bone white chicken is inside this nesting pen, and whenever they create an egg, they will create a bone white egg, and it will almost always, in my experience, have better stats than the parent. So it will improve by itself. You don't necessarily need 2 of these next to each other to increase your growth rate. It's no hybridization, etc. Literally, the chicken just creates a new egg that is better than the original. So that is handy. That is good to know about. That is really, for me, all that hatchery has in terms of the progression. There, like I said, you can use these nesting pens then to do your gathering. So once you have a lot of really high-end chickens, you can load them up into a bunch of nesting pens and start pulling out of them with something like conduits and things to get the materials out, right? There's one more thing that got added. It was added actually, I think, later in one of the more recent pack updates, but is a mod called Roost. And this basically adds another set of chickens, and we can look at what this all does. But really block-wise, again, it's just 4 blocks. It uses all the same chickens, effectively. It just does it a little bit different way. But again, if you have an iron chicken, you can get an iron chicken from Roost. If you have a glowstone chicken, you can get a glowstone chicken from Roost. So the 4 blocks, the 4 items at least that it creates. First is, let's say, a chicken catcher. This is an important thing to understand. This is what I used to grow a chicken. But basically, how many chickens? I don't actually think it works on a regular chicken. Let me just grab this guy. You can go back and forth, so let me get you out. Oh, I forgot. I was going to use you to show, hopefully you drop an egg. Okay, we're going to crack open the secret stash. I got a secret stash of chickens in here. Don't want to do that yet. Can I use a regular egg in here? I'm just curious. I can. Okay, so there you go. This will give you the idea of what an egg, like this is just going to turn into a regular chicken, but if you have it with no light, it's going to grow pretty slow, to be perfectly honest. It's all random, so I didn't do a lot of studies. If I had, actually, let's do this. Give me that egg back. Throw you. 1, 2, 3. Technically, this thing is 3%. I'm going to go ahead and break it just so it doesn't have that 3%. If we go here, it'll be tricky. So we're going to have one that has just a redstone lamp, one that has an off redstone lamp. So nothing's touching this egg nest. We're going to have a redstone lamp and the nest, and we're going to have a redstone lamp that I'm going to stand on. And each of those should be slightly different impacts. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. And then we'll just see, like I said, I at least did this test, and you can see we're going faster in the ones that we expect to be faster, but quantitatively I haven't really worked out like just how much faster it is. So 5% is bigger than 3%, bigger than 1%, right? So it's a pretty reasonable progression where you want the redstone lamp on, and if you have nothing else to do, you want to be standing on the nest, because the standing on is obviously also incrementally much faster than the redstone lamp by itself. So that's the idea. Once these hit 100%, they're going to go crack out, and I think we've actually seen some of this before, but that'll happen, and we'll go gather them up and do some stuff with them. But that said, Roost is good. Now that I don't need you, I can use you. Whoop, there we go. To show me what Roost can do. So if I put him in the world, then I can use that chicken catcher. If I right click him, don't left click him. That's what I did for a very long time, trying to figure out how to make this work. But if I right click him, instead of him being a chicken, he turns into an item of the chicken. So found in the overworld, we have a chicken, and now I can use this person or this chicken in Roost items. So he has a Roost block, a chicken breeder, and a Roost collector. So I have most of those, I think, in here. I'll have a Roost. Well, here, let's actually grab all those. And a, what's the other thing called? A breeder. So there's two main blocks. From my experience, I don't actually see this Roost collector as being useful. It seems like it's way too slow. So I'm not even gonna worry about that one. But you have two blocks. One is the Roost, which lets you basically breed items. So if I was to take this bone white chicken and put him in there, he will eventually craft me up the items he's supposed to. The thing to note with the nesting pen is you get a lot of eggs, a lot of manure, a lot of feathers, and then some of the item that you're actually looking for, like the bone meal, potentially in this case. In this scenario, my experience is you just get the byproduct that you're looking for, or at least that they make. So you don't get the eggs, you don't get the manure, you don't get the feathers, but you get the bone meal, basically. And we'll see that. We'll let this kind of go. The other block then is the chicken breeder. So instead of getting it through eggs, you actually then, is that the right thing? Yeah, they look the exact same right now. You actually put your chicken item into these slots and then put some seeds in here, and they will breed into better chickens. So that's also how you would progress. So that said, let's go ahead now and crack open the super special chicken box, and we'll put some of this to use. Actually, we can even see in here what the breeder is going to be. And voila, we have some diamond chickens, almost fully bred. So I've got a 9, 10, 10 diamond chicken and a 10, 10, 10 diamond chicken. And hopefully, yep, these are 10, 10, 10s. So I can put these over here, and they will slowly, not really that slow, start to give me more 10, 10, 10 chickens. Once I have them, I mean, we only want perfect chickens, right? So we're gonna go for 10, 10, 10s and diamond. This should make so much money. It's just silly. Or EMC, I guess, not money. But one thing to note that I hadn't mentioned before, and it took me a while to realize, especially over here on the Roost, the reason this made me super excited is you can put a bunch of chickens in here. So we're gonna crack open the chest and get something fancy. Lapis chickens, right? So ignore all the rest of that. Lapis chickens. I've got a stack. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Get out of there. Okay. You can put one chicken in here. You can see it's slowly going. But the thing that you might not realize just looking at the interface, and you might not try unless you actually knew you could do it, if your chickens are the same, so all 10s, basically it's the easiest way for that to happen, but if they were all 5s, it should work just the same. If they're the same chicken, you can stack them up to 16. And they're effect stacks, right? So look how fast I'm making lapis now with 16 blue chickens going. And the benefit here is that's one little block, no major like block updates or anything. So I think it's from a latency, lag, server, blah, blah, blah impact. I think this is better. You're only producing lapis, and you can see lapis is worth a bunch. It's worth 864 EMC per. We're getting 3 every, I don't know, 3 seconds. So we're getting like a lapis a second, and we're just stacking up the EMC, right? It's just going. Automated, fully passive, nothing having to happen. So that is why I like the chickens. I think they're really strong in this way. Is there anything else we need to look at other than, yeah, let's look at how this diamond's going. All right, so diamonds are pretty slow, which makes sense. So the idea here is what can we actually get with the roost, right? So if we look at the roost in JEI, it gives the list of all what the things that roosting chickens can drop. Basically, if anything has EMC, it's just a matter of which one makes the most EMC. The most EMC I can think of, let's see if I can find it, is not diamond, but diamond makes obviously 8,000 EMC. It's going to be emerald, I think is the number one thing, is 16,000 EMC per craft. Now the question mark is, do you make emeralds as fast, for example, as you make lapis? Lapis is about 800 EMC, emerald is about 16,000 EMC. I have to assume, at the very least, that you do not make lapis 20 times faster than emeralds. You might make emeralds slower, but I don't think it's going to be that much slower. Same thing with then diamonds. Diamonds are like 8,000. So again, I don't think it's like 40 times? 40 times slower? 40 times and 80 times? I don't know. My math is totally off. 20 times? Whatever it is. It's not that much slower, I don't think. So you can see this just makes so much lapis, right? All of a sudden I have 100,000 EMC right here. And for each like single one, it's not that much, but you put 10 of these together and all of a sudden you're making 100 EMC a minute. Or not 100 EMC. You're making like 1,000,000 EMC a minute or something like that. It's crazy. So let's throw this in here. There we go. So what I wanted to show is, as you saw in here, I got a bunch of lapis, right? This is the way I did it before now. And let's just see how we take the lapis chickens. We got so many of them. I guess we're going to go this many. Take the lapis chickens and make them produce a ridiculous amount of EMC, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to go ahead and grab you out. Bing. And then I'm going to just move you a little bit so I have some extra space to work with here. And so I think I've got something like 12, I believe, sets of chicken right now, and they will need to go into roosts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm actually going to do, for right now, I'm going to set up a 4x4. 2, 3, 4. Oop, don't want to go sideways though. Oh, that's the sound of chickens spawning. I don't know what killed them automatically or instantly. They must have spawned like inside the, I don't know what killed them. But that was the sound of chickens spawning. Oh, yeah, they're like spawning inside the stone. That's weird and suffocating. But either way, I don't need them. But there we go. We have a 4x4. So remember, we're talking, in this case, 16. And each of these can hold 16 chickens. So that's, I don't know, like 256 chickens. Silly. Really, really, really silly. One thing that's interesting, you can right click these just from the outside in here, and you can just put the stacks in as we go. There you go, easy peasy. The thing to note here, obviously, I put more slots than I have chickens. So I just want to show how I would then also go through the process once you have some 10-10 chickens of making sure to fill up whatever amount of these that you want. So reproduction process. For that, then we're going to need a couple more chickens. Give me all the lapis. I only have, there we go. We'll take that. That'll work for right now. And then I will need some conduits. All right, we'll grab conduits. We're going to grab, similar to what we're doing over there with the mob farm, we're going to grab a energy condenser. And basically, again, this might not be the most like efficient way to lay it out, but we're just going to give it a conduit all the way around, and we're going to give each of these a conduit. Not over there. Conduit here, and I don't know that it really matters to have extra connections, but there we go. We'll just make it a little bit extra. So here we're going to basically just always be extracting any new chickens that get bred. Oops. For my purpose, I only actually need to insert into the top, so I'm only going to set it up that way. But whenever they're done making whatever it is they're going to make, in this case lapis, I want them to automatically pull out whatever that material is. And actually, I'll just set them all up this way with insert and export, even though they won't have any space to take in chickens. And the only thing that can go into these roosts is that, chicken type block. So we'll go here. Get these all set up real quick like. If you make this too big, I don't know, you might run into latency issues or something. I don't know if there's any deep-seated concerns with Ender IO conduits and performance and whatnot, but it worked for me. They're pretty straightforward. All right, so there's that. And then basically the idea to keep them going, or to fill those top sides, is going to be to, let's go up to like here. Is to give some chickens to breed up here. The other thing you need inside the breeding situation is seeds. So if I give them, you see they pull the curtains, so they're very proper chickens. They're not just out there flaunting their activities. So it is important. I didn't realize this is another one that even after I realized that roosts could hold multiples, it took me a while to actually think through the fact that, okay, well, can the breeders hold multiples? So you can do stacks here, which makes the spawning process even faster. But they need seeds plus the chickens, they will start breeding is basically what we're going to be doing here. And as I said, they'll just create some more 1010 lapis chickens, and then they'll pull them out and stick them at the top. So easy enough in that regard. And then we'll just, I don't know, pull it out to like right here. We'll give it a little bit of space. Put that there and set this to insert. The chickens don't have EMC, so it can't pull, you don't need to filter anything. It can't pull these chickens out and stick them in here. What it can do though is pull massive amounts of lapis in this situation. So I'm even going to give it this lapis too. So again, over there, you just saw we were doing dark matter. If we take a look in here, just because I know where this is going to go, dark matter can roll up into dark matter blocks. So it's a 2x2. So that makes it 557,000 EMC per block. Then alternatively though, dark matter can also go into something called red matter. Red matter then is 3 dark matter with some of that Eternalis fuel. And each of these is what, like, I think I determined before, I think it's created with a stack of coal. So 6 stacks of coal and 3 dark matter gets you a red matter for 466, but then you can block that to get 1.9 million EMC. We're going to take one of these out of the system. Fortunately, I have enough space, and we're going to convert direct to red matter blocks because that's how it's going to go. And if you see, just the lapis that's been generated since we've been talking in this episode with these chickens. Now, obviously, you have to generate the chickens, but you can see each of these is 50,000, and it's just going, etc. You can also see these things are popping off with their chickens pretty fast. And we've already got 15 chickens in here, and then it'll fill up these other 3. Toot sweet, I have no doubt. So we'll come back and see how this guy's going in a little bit, but you can see we're already at 500,000 EMC that's been in there. Honestly, the roadblock is going to be potentially this condenser. So I might need multiple condensers or different types of condensers or something to make that go faster. That said, I think as we saw over here, I now do have diamonds, right? Diamond chickens, yes please, right? So I'm going to take these chickens out. I'm going to come over here and basically set up the same thing just right over here. So we'll do right now 1, 2, 3, 4 breeders. And I'm going to set up another 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, that's the wrong spot. another 6x6, another 4x4 set for my diamond chickens to kind of fill in. And I don't have quite as many of these, but we'll still be okay, I think. Go like one, and actually we'll go like one. We'll put like 3 in each of these. And they're not gonna, they do have to be each slot filled, even if they're the same thing, and they could stack otherwise. Give them seeds, let them get started. These are gonna take a little bit. I probably will pull some of the diamond chickens that they create. I'll actually let them just breed into here and then bring them over so they breed a little bit faster before I then bring them out to this side. But what I'm gonna do, let's just see what this is doing. Yeah, so we already have, 1.8 million EMC, and we're nowhere near keeping up with the amount of lapis this stuff's kicking out. It's just silly. It's just ridiculous. We're already 2 full up here, and we're getting there on this. So that said, actually, I need probably just one. It's gonna be 1 extra chicken, please. Thank you. The next step is emerald, right? So what I'd really like to do is get emerald chickens. And that is diamond and cactus green. So as it happens, I have a level 10-10-10 cactus green chicken. So pop that in there. And so eventually this thing will run, and we'll get potentially either diamond chickens, 10-10 diamond chickens, or we'll get 10-10 cactus green chickens, or we'll get a 1-1-1 emerald chicken. So that's the thing. I don't really love the fact. I wish if we bred like 2 10-10s together that you were pretty much guaranteed to get like a 5-5-5 of the resulting chicken, but you get a level 1 chicken, which is kind of obnoxious. We're gonna need more seeds in here before that finishes. But what I'm gonna do here, I think, is let these chickens, these diamond chickens, populate into the 4x4 over there. I'm going to hopefully get around to getting one of those level 1 emerald chickens, and then we'll just see kind of some of the steps and processes I was going through to try to then just level them up to level 10 to start with. And I guess the other thing to note, diamond chickens are a bit of a process to get to. You need glass chickens, which require those nether quartz chickens, which you can only get found in the nether, or you have to buy from the quest book. So I bought mine from the quest book. Redstone chickens are then sand chickens, which you have to either find in the overworld or buy from the quest book. I bought them from the quest book. And a red chicken, which is just red dye and an egg. So that gets you to there. The gold chicken then is the iron chicken that we already kind of looked at, which is the flint chicken and the bone white chicken, bred with a yellow chicken to get the gold chicken. So there you go. I think that's about all the things to know about that. This is going to keep doing its thing. We'll come back, see if I get an emerald chicken, and then we're here. We getting anywhere? Like I said, we'll get that all going. Is this catching up at all? It's, I think, almost catching up. I think it'll be able to at least use all of these. Are we? Yeah, we'll let those go a little bit more. So I'm gonna let the chickens all kind of coop up, do their thing here for just a little bit, and then we'll come back when we have a space full of diamond chickens and we have some emerald chickens to start leveling, and then we'll see what we can do when we turn it up from just lapis to things like diamond and emerald, and we'll go from there. So back in just a bit. All right, so we went a little chicken crazy here. I do have my emerald chickens kicking around, along with some some more diamonds, some more green guys. Put the extra green chicken in there, and actually we'll just call this good. They're out of whatever it is, seeds anyway. I could put some more in there, but not a big deal. Okay, so now that we'll put these diamond guys away for later. We have the emerald chickens. Then basically next step would be to get that leveled up to 10. So we would just come over here, and we could just drop 2 emerald chickens. They look like they're little villagers. That's hilarious. Villager chickens. Where's my, there we go, my nets. And then we can plump them in there, and they'll start making all the little, wait, actually they're still, gotta do the right process. Switch them over. Oh wait, no, I'm totally wrong. They're already adults because they came from it this way. Okay, I'm getting confused. But there we go. So they would produce some eggs. I could hatch some eggs, and I could let them, generate that way. More likely than not, the better idea is to put them in the breeding room in here. Now we got some things popping off in here. Diamond chickens are doing some like not suitable for work after hours, 2 a.m. on Cinemax kind of things, but we won't pay attention to that. We'll go over here. I'm not in too much of a hurry to get emeralds up and trained because, quite frankly, just diamonds alone with this process is so ridiculous. You can see here, these are all diamonds and they're all kicking off, and I'm actually just going to steal them all at this point. Just give me all the diamonds. Give them to me. I don't need more than this. These are all 10-10 diamond chickens. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Once you get it going, it just keeps going. So once you get things pumping off here with the breeding and the people and the chickens making the chickens happy, then the chickens go into stage 3. The factory, the chicken factory, the Tyson's food of EMC production. Yeah, like I said, I got a little chicken crazy. Yeah, that's the thing. So we can just then go through here, and I can take all those stacks of 16 diamond chicken things, and just start plugging them in. It's actually really good in terms of how it auto moves everything. Like you can just right click it on there and it moves the next chicken into your inventory. It's really fast, actually. So the premise here is just using a whole bunch of roosts with 16. There's some crazy diamond chickens going on. So collecting out of them instead of using Ender IO or some sort of conduits or pipes or things directly into the roosts, which realistically would let me have more roosts in here so I could have more capacity, but I don't need more capacity. This is just silly. I'm basically going to, I think, fill this with diamonds. I'm going to fill that with lapis, and I'm going to fill this with emeralds, and I don't know, go buy Amazon with it all, or something along those lines, because this just makes silly amounts of stuff. It's probably not as crazy as other options that you can like abuse EMC and Project E and stuff, but in terms of what I would consider almost a legitimate, like a non-tricky way, it's just how much stuff it produces. It's just ridiculous. So if we look in here, this is producing, I'm at 16 million EMC right now, but you can just see how fast it's producing. I'm doing red matter blocks for 1.8 million, and it's just chunking through them here. Creating EMC with abandon. Are they all really producing? Yeah, they're all going. I know I had the question initially, do these produce as many things as the lapis? They do produce 3 diamonds for a stack of 16, which is the same as lapis. I did it with a very scientific, counting like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and my impression is the diamond chickens produce 3 diamonds about a third as fast. Oh, I'm saying this a weird way. The lapis chickens produce 3 times as much lapis as the diamond chickens produce diamonds, right? So they can produce 3 times. They both produce 3 at a time, but the lapis chickens produce it every 3 seconds. The diamonds produce it every 9 seconds, roughly, from my counting. So that means we're not really getting, we're not going from like 800 EMC per craft or per iteration up to 8,000. So we're not getting like a 10 times multiplier. We're really getting more like a 3.5 times multiplier. So we're making 3.5 times as much EMC with diamond chickens and lapis, in my opinion. When we get emerald chickens in, I'd be curious to see how the ratio goes. Either way, since I've been talking, we're now up to 22 million. It just goes and goes and goes. If we look at our little lapis buddies over here, they're making a dent. So I can just pull these, pull this, and dump it in. You can see I've actually had to be dumping some out of those as I move the chests around. I just have these red matter blocks in my inventory. And if we actually step out here, I have a chest where I've just been dumping things as well, as I have crazy amounts of EMC. Yeah, EMC with abandon. And just for good measure, there we go. There's the other thing I've been picking at is the, the quintessential classical cliche, maybe even red barn for leaf farming goods. Things are cliche for a reason. It's because they're fitting and appropriate. So red barn for my chicken shack seems like a good idea. But if I throw these red matter blocks in there, we're now up to 500 million EMC. And I've only been doing this for maybe a couple hours at most while I was building this structure out. We got some timber framing. I just went with quartz. So it's quartz stairs, quartz slabs, just quartz blocks, all for the roof. I was going to do the roof different than the trim. It's supposed to be like white trim, red barn. And I'm not even sure, honestly, what the roof of a red barn normally is. Is it just the white, or is it... I assumed it was more like a gray, but whatever. Not necessarily a true barn shape. I also don't think they're wider than they are deep most of the time. Maybe they are. I guess if you need to get a big old tractor in here or something, that makes sense. Either way, this is my maybe one and only cosmetic build for this playthrough. So I picked it a little bit. It was interesting. I enjoyed it. So I stuck with it. That said, obviously there's a ton of these, and I mean, I could probably even, well, no, I guess I can't actually get this into here, but there's just, it's just, we are making infinite amounts of things now. Not technically infinite, I get that, there's more things, but there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't need anything more than that. As you probably saw in this chest, I've actually made then all of the red matter gear. So these are about 5 million, well, maybe not that much. They look like they're about 4 million, so that's like 9, 12, that's like 15 million EMC right there. And then I do have a red Morning Star and a red Qatar, which between them are another 15 million. So here's like 30 million worth of gear, and that's not the total top end, but it's really darn high at this point in terms of where we're at with gear, and we still then just have 10 times that kicking around, especially when I dump these back in. Oh, and I still don't actually know what these weapons do and are these things do entirely, but the Morning Star is basically a shovel, pick, and hammer all together, and the Qatar is like a shear and an axe and a sword and a hoe all together. So somehow you have all your weapons and equipment in these two things, which is great in my opinion. Saves me inventory space. So we're gonna get rid of those things, don't need them. Don't really need this sword anymore, I'll just even throw it back in here. Yeah, so we've got all the EMC I'm ever gonna need, which leaves me with the question of, do I do my Britannia version of EMC generation? I don't think it's gonna be anywhere near the efficacy of chickens. And you can see, like, I think we saw in this, right? They produce, once you get to 1010, I can get, like, that's kind of obnoxious to get some 1010s going and get to diamonds. And I probably don't do it the most efficient way anyway, but there are, once you get them all up to 16, or you get 16 of them up to 1010s, they reproduce like bunnies, not like chickens. Actually, maybe, I don't know who reproduces faster, chickens or bunnies, but like it would be absolutely no effort, no time for me to get this entire place full of diamond chickens, and we could just be good. And only reason I'm going emerald is just because I can, I guess, basically. It gives me something to work on, and I like the idea of the chickens, and like I said earlier in this episode, you know, the gotta collect them all Pokemon kind of approach. This is obviously only like super broken in the world of EMC. Not because, again, of Project E or anything, it's just the nature of the mods when they interact with each other. Because normally it wouldn't matter if I could produce 9 billion diamonds. I can't turn those diamonds into other things. So, because I have Project E, I can turn these 8 million diamonds into some other things, so then that's all I need is diamonds, or emeralds, or whatnot. So, you can see we've got quite the chicken shack going here. So, all the things now producing. Yeah, it's just silly. I know it can get sillier, but it's silly enough at this point. So that said, we now have the redstone, and actually that gets to a good point. If we were to look at the quest book, I believe this has a quest for it. Because one thing I will need to be doing now that I'm getting to near infinite EMC, let's go here. Red Morning Star is going to get me $200 bills. Doesn't consume, good. Take that, and we'll get $200. And a super crate, give me something amazing. An ME crafting terminal. That's not a bad thing, but I don't honestly know if I'll ever go ME. One thing I did want to grab real quick before we go our separate ways in terms of trying to think of just ways to spend all this EMC on stuff. If we look at Project E, there's some things that we will need to do, like getting these big, super expensive energy collectors and energy condensers and all that stuff. Well, we got the energy condenser, but some of these things are expensive. But one thing, and then I'll eventually need to get to these gem helmets, but eventually I do need to get these Klein stars upgrading, and these hold 25 million EMC apiece. Obviously that's not an issue now. I think I can store these in here, like I can fill them up with this EMC, so these are a non-issue as well. But I did want to, again, it's not going to use any material amount of EMC, but I wanted to get to, what is it? It's called there we go. I want to get one of these transmutation tablets and see what that does. I think that's going to let me take this tablet or this table and just do it remotely, which would be amazing. Stone and dark matter. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 dark matter and some stone. Wrong thing. I always want to go in there to do my crafting. There. Yep, that's what I thought. Okay, so now I don't even really need these transmutation tables. I can just carry literally an infinite amount of things in my pockets wherever I go. So I can just pull things out as I will, which kind of means you don't even need to carry the tools on you. You can literally just carry the tablet, pull the tools out whenever you need them, put them back away. All the things, right? So we can just put our chicken creator away and dump the diamond wands and the chest openers. We don't really need anything at any given time unless it doesn't have EMC on it. Yeah, that's nice. I like it. That makes me feel very creative, which makes me think actually the next thing I probably should do, even before we get to the unlimited monies option, is getting some sort of flying going. I need to probably think through a way to get preferably creative flight would be stupendous, but maybe something more along the lines of a jetpack or something with effectively infinite power or something like that. Yeah, there we go. Chickens. Maybe next episode, Britannia. Maybe I can't talk. Some sort of in between in terms of getting to this element. Or maybe we'll just jump to a couple of these and do like some refined canola factories, ethanol factories, maybe a sludge factory, witch water. Maybe we'll start producing some of these things just to get them going. That said, I can't actually unlock these for turn-ins until I get $1,000 to invest. So that's the other thing we might work on next episode, is just finding $1,000 worth of quests to turn in. If we got up to like these, they're not even that much. So I'll do some kind of just hunting around for like what is a really big quest turn in. So like this Opinium core, we can get $100 bills. I think some of those are going to require nether stars though, is going to be the problem. So maybe that should be the next goal, is to just get nether star, because all we need is one, right? All I need is one, and then we have an infinite amount again. So there we go. That is enough rambling. I'm going to splice and edit and smush this all together in a way that hopefully makes some sort of sense. So thank you for making it to the end. Thank you for coming by in the first place. Let me know if you have any questions, any thoughts, if I'm overlooking something, oversimplifying something. And other than that, I hope you have an amazing time wherever you go from here. I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. Take it easy.